Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz, Shauketaly.
Good morning and welcome to Newsline. This morning, on the day after the news of the budget, we have joining us Mr. Lakshan Dias, the chairman of Transparency International. Very good morning to you, Mr. Dias.
Very good.
And thank you for joining us. We hope to play a clip on a reaction to the budget. Whilst that's coming on, what is your initial reaction?
Well, I'm not an economist, so
No,
I'm not.
but you are.
I'm just a public
member of the public.
Member of public.
What is your gut feeling?
Yeah, as a member of public, I think it's my feeling that it's a kind of a election targeted.
It's a gimmick, is it?
Yeah, I don't say gimmick, but it's election targeted budget, and then also I see that it's going towards this whole idea of privatization, more or less, and then also like private ownership of properties is being really highlighted. Like the farmers are given loans, but they will they will lose their lands.
I see.
That's how I look at it, because I look at it from the perspective of poor. I mean, they get land ownership. I'm very happy about it. But end of the day, if you don't have proper welfare systems, they ended up in loans, and they have to sell their lands. So they became again landless. So this is anyway, whether we like it or not, it was the line of economy over the years. It will continue. So this is not a good.
It's not a good precedent. It's a good
precedent, and also it's not good for poor, in my opinion, in long term. In long term, short term, of course, they get some sort of reducing cost of living or some certain important consumer items, but in long term, it's will not benefit the poor, in my opinion. I mean, that the style for many years.
Mr. Dias, what do you think? What else can the government do?
Yes, that is also an issue, because I mean, there's a huge debt which the Sri Lanka is trapped. I won't say the government, the Sri Lanka is trapped. So they have to handle that. But I think they should have think of a more futuristic budget instead of short term. Giving some sort of benefits for public to satisfy them. I think it is not visible very much in this budget. I mean, I don't see anything like really a turning point in Sri Lankan economy. It's another budget. I mean, which always we got in all the years.
But there are so many. As a professional, how do you feel when you read in the press, you watch on the news, hear on the news, watch on TV, that various public officials, like parliamentarians, doctors, so on, members of the civil service, when they get concessionary, let's take concessionary vehicle permits, and it's not only parliamentarians, it's others too.
True, yes.
Minister of Finance told me off for only talking about parliamentarians. No, it's not. It's the others too.
Others too, yeah.
From a perspective, you are also a professional. Do you think that it's fair on the rest of the Republic that the select people, and it is only a select few, get targeted for?
It is always an issue, in my opinion. I mean, we are giving some sort of a bait, or we are giving some sort of a bribe.
It is. Why can't they give them a tax break?
That should. I mean,
everybody pays tax. That's on that premise.
I mean, I think I became a taxpayer last week, so I'm very proud about it. Right. I think we all have to pay tax, our due tax.
Why only last week?
Because that's how they.
Because that's how the system works.
Now, I mean, I was not a taxpayer, so they sent me a file. So I went there and I submit all my income, and I'm proud to be a taxpayer.
Right.
So because then I can demand things from the state because as a taxpayer. So I think we have to. If instead of giving permits, if you can think of tax holiday or something like that for the public of bureaucrats or things like that, that can be a different.
When we look at the budget, to me it smacks of. I think you used the right word, bait. Because it's you have the popular items like dal, potatoes, sprats, green beans, kerosene, gas by various small amounts of money, which is obviously it helps, and whole chicken kilos reduced to 420 rupees.
And gas by 25 rupees. I don't think it's insignificant.
It's not peanuts, but it's not of any significance. And how many people can actually afford to buy a whole chicken? I don't think so. Right. So this is maybe people who live in Monarch and in Crescat and all these other plush things. And maybe they can, because they've got the necessary large fridges to do it and to keep it there. I don't think the average Joe Pereira is going to be able to do that.
Generally, people buy half a chicken.
That's right.
That's generally that's
right.
what they can afford. No, I think it's what I said. So by some of these price reductions, it looks like government is trying to face the next election coming up in maybe February or March. The
ministers, however, in government seem to have differing views. Let's join the clip now on the reaction to the budget.
Well, all I could basically say that we have given a very pro-development oriented budget. You could see that the general public has not been taxed in any way. Anybody earns less than 50,000, I don't see anywhere where any taxes have been brought in. So this is a very revolutionary approach where we have recycled from where it is, from who can afford to pay, towards people who are less fortunate. Well, the only way is the proof of the pudding is in the eating. This year's 2016 budget is as predicted, it's happening. You're maintaining the fiscal deficits that are there and able to give the professional leadership that is expected. All you could basically say is the performance is the best indicator.
So the repercussions on the welfare sector that we have enjoyed will collapse. The imposition of various taxes on the people will give rise to rising cost of living. And unemployment, though the government says there will be employment, it will be an unemployment budget because the privatization process is hidden in the budget. So we won't be surprised that this is going to be a failure. It's not going to fulfill the figures that they have established.
It has addressed areas that haven't been addressed before. If you take the effect in UWA, for example, the UWA and the Northern Province, incentives for investors to go in there, that's something novel. And that's how areas in China developed. The more backward areas were given high incentives. So it's a well thought out budget.
Not only the sports, I think we have decided to implement this budget for the future rather than thinking of the present. I think when we do a budget, we need to think of tomorrow and further rather than thinking of today. I still feel that we have allocated a lot of money for sports, we are allocating a lot of money for development, and we are looking at the future development.
Only thing what we can see is from this budget also that there is no consistency in this government. They promised 6% of the GDP for education when they came for elections, and also 3% for education. But last year they presented a budget which changed thrice, and also at the last stage of the year they introduced the VAT again. So now what we see is in this budget also there is no 6% given for education, or 3% for health. So there is no consistency or there is no program to take this country forward.
Health sector has been given, I think, almost everything. So whatever we have requested, everything is included there. And for the health, this is the highest budget this year, 2017. It is more than any of the years. So this is the highest, and we have achieved the 3% of the GDP, what we have promised in the elections.
The development-oriented budget proposal for 2017 was presented by Finance Minister Ravi Karnanayake this evening. The government is optimistic that this will drive the economy forward and Sri Lanka will see progress in the export development and also in tourism and also education. Education was given and emphasized a lot by the Minister of Finance today during his budget proposal, and even the Minister of Education is optimistic that this will open doors for Sri Lankan universities, Sri Lankan students, and also it will give an opportunity for countries around the world to come to Sri Lanka and study here and pursue their higher education. The joint opposition and the opposition charges that this is yet an unrealistic proposal that was presented by the government of good governance. But what will happen, only time will tell. The events to follow next is the debate and the vote in December. I'm Stephanie Lazarus, back to you.
Thank you and welcome back. Good reporting from the Newsfirst team there yesterday. Mr. Dias, before I go on to transparency, I just can't but bring this up. This is it says here, telecommunications levy increased by 25%. He must be joking. So many people are still reeling from the last time he increased that.
Yes.
And you know, you put 100 rupee reload and it's
60 rupees.
It's like 60 rupees, nearly 60 rupees. Now they're going to raise the tax by another 25%. This is absolutely unacceptable. The people are being hit in all sorts of ways. The minister says that anybody earning less than 50,000 and so on, that he doesn't see anything. Perhaps, do there people who earn under 50,000 not use mobile phones?
A lot of
or
indirect
telecoms?
taxes.
These are all indirect taxes, and they're really whacking it in.
I think public is that a big displeasure on this telecommunication. I mean, not only the mobile phones or the other telephones, but internet.
That's right.
A large number of young people are using internet.
Of course.
I mean, increasing internet by 25%, it's not a very wise decision, because people will refrain, people will reduce the time of internet. And it will affect the whole idea of giving new technology, new knowledge.
You see, Mr. Dias, I view it like this. If you are constantly traveling in, let's say, a top-of-the-range Hummer or some Prado or something like that, and you constantly do that, however bad the roads, the discomfort is substantially reduced.
Yeah.
When you live the high life, because by virtue of the fact that you are the guardian of or the custodian of something or other, as ministers and MPs are, when you live that other life, it's difficult to realize that this 25%, because you know their bills are paid and so on and so forth, and they make whirlwind profits, as we have seen in the central bank bond matter, right? Unusual profits. And it is the same minister who described such high gains in the previous government as ill-gotten. Nothing seems to add up, which brings me to the point of transparency. Where do we stand on transparency?
Well, can you ask it again?
I'll ask you another question.
Yeah.
I'll ask you the same question, you know, slightly with a better example.
Yeah, that's better.
Let's take the case of the AG versus Tiranalis. Right? Here you have somebody who's being remanded when actually the law doesn't need him to be remanded, right? The AG is questioning the medical reports, and RADA is not a state institution, and the charge is being brought against him on under the public, the state, the Public Property Act, and you know it's riddled with incompetence, and it then sends the message that this is some kind of agenda that they are following, and it doesn't. What do the ordinary public think about all this? You know, they must be fearful. They must be praying that they never have to go to court.
Yeah, I think when I read it first about 2-3 days ago, when it happens, I also found that the AG's department need to be a little more careful when we filing cases. I mean, moment once you go into the Court of Appeal, and if you are released on based on fault in the judgment or in the plaint or indictment, I think then you will lose the public trust or public image. So I think this is not a very good show when it comes to the AG's department. And also sometimes you have to be, even it's good to take a little more time and file a good case rather filing a case in a quick manner, and you fail. So that's what I see. That's a style for last few months. What I see.
Yes.
So maybe you can suspect it's due to pressure. Can be pressure from somewhere else.
But we are the people of the country voted in. They didn't really vote them in, but what they did is they voted to re-establish good governance, to re-establish the level playing field, so that we are all equal, and there is no inequality and there's no imbalance. That's what we voted in, and these people who been the beneficiaries of that vote have an obligation, because they are the custodians of our needs, the people's needs.
One thing I can tell you is that about the judiciary is much better than it was, and everybody agrees about that. I mean, from the joint opposition to the government, president to prime minister, and everybody, that we are happy with our judiciary, and it's going towards progress, not backwards. So that is the only thing I think we can happy about, because at least we can see a level play in that. But other institutions, together with the judiciary, it has not reached to that level. So that is the issue. That's where the issue. I mean, there are a lot of cases that is pending, can be brought in and then challenged, but it's delaying. And on the other hand, some cases which are not that important coming up, maybe due to different pressures. So this is where we have to, strike a balance. Like, okay, you cannot be somebody's work according to somebody's pressure. You have to be independent, especially the Attorney General Department. Everybody's looking at them. It's people's institution. Even though it's a department under state, it's a people's institution, because people, it's a very important position created about 200 years ago.
Indeed.
I mean, it maintained its independence. I'm not saying that the present AG is not independent. He's a very respected person. But I think
some of these actions are worrying.
It's worrying. I agree with you. So this is where, especially when it comes to the filing certain important cases on corruption, is a question mark.
Indeed. I think when you analyze the whole thing, and if you look at it rather critically and objectively, I think we may have to end up agreeing that the last free judiciary that we, as in the Republic, had was under President Premadasa.
More or less.
Personally, my mentor.
I think people talk, he didn't interfere with the judiciary. And also at that time, we have very good judicial officers, judges, and chief justice. So it was a really a good time of the judiciary. Well, it deteriorated after that, but I think we are gaining again So we have to be happy about that. I mean, we have at least independent judiciary.
Yeah.
So we all have to support it. But similarly, you have to have other establishments also in par with that.
Indeed,
If not, then people again can question the level playing and the independence of the judiciary. So
Indeed.
we have to support the system. So
and then I mean, this is going back to this case of Mr. Alice and his troubles. It's so pathetic. It's completely lopsided. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, God. It doesn't mean that we are asking for Mr. Alice not to be prosecuted or for his file to be chucked away. If there's a case, there's a case. But there's a way and a method that has been established by tradition and by law.
Yes.
And there's no good the AG acting as though he's unaware of the law. He's, after all, the AGs. You know.
No, I think this is where I feel that there are lapses in the AG's department.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it can be due to pressure.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I think AG department need to be a little more careful on this kind of thing, because otherwise, they will lose the public trust and public
yes, the public
reputation.
confidence will be completely eroded.
Yeah. I think at least there are a lot of cases pending at the AG's department, and for last 1.5 years too, especially some highly placed corruption matters, which still pending.
Yes.
I mean, there are about 50 to 60 cases. People, I mean, when some of my friends in my legal field, when they said, shall we file some cases against AG on not to take these cases? I said, let's give them a little more time. But the giving time is not come to an end.
That's right. It's a constant.
So it's constant giving time. So I think the public need to be engaged with the. I'm always saying need to be engaged with the Attorney General Department. The best thing that they can do is file writ of mandamus and asking why you are not filing. I mean, you have to do this thing. This is public interest, and then pressure AG through the judiciary to file those cases.
Can I ask you a question? You're a lawyer, right? Can I ask you, have you ever filed a case using photocopies of documents without the originals?
No, I mean, that's very important. When you file a photocopy, you have to true copy it to see. I mean,
yeah, but that means, do you imply that you've got the copy,
of course,
the original?
Otherwise, I can't true copy it. Then I'm lying.
Right.
That cannot be done, because it's a general or a basic principle in judiciary. You have to either have original, or you are giving a copy of it which you sign and attest that it's a true copy of it.
But you have the original.
I have to have original. I mean, certain documents we don't file originals, but we file a true copy of it, signed by the particular attorney at law, saying it's a true copy.
Yes.
That's the basic. That
is the basic, isn't it? We've got lots of questions.
Unless otherwise, there's a serious issue that you are not being able to file, but you are sure about still this photocopy is true.
Yeah, I mean
for that you have to explain the judiciary that why you have not submitted.
That's how this matter. That's how the Ceylon Today is reporting it. That they're saying that this is what the lawyers, the defense lawyers, are saying. That these are copies. So the public will remain wary of these matters.
Yeah, I prefer not to talk the case.
No, of course.
But yes, if you're going to submit cases or file cases with photocopies where you cannot decide the authenticity of that, then it's questionable. Because then anybody can do that one, and then you are ended up with huge number of cases without a proper substantial documents. Because in courts, documents play very important role, and especially in the higher courts.
Yes, I am, of course, again, just for the record, quoting what was said in the Ceylon Today this morning, and what is claimed by certain defense lawyers, just to put everyone's mind at ease. We're not making it up. So, Mr. Dias, are you worried that transparency has still not reached a high enough standard?
Yes, not good enough.
Not good enough.
Yes, I think we all have to work for it, irrespective of whether we are support the government or not supporting.
Yeah.
It's finally the country get the benefit. I mean, sometimes it's sometimes painful. Sometimes when you challenge the government on certain things which is not in good shape, but you are doing it for the sake of the country, for the sake of the interest of the public. So you have to do it. I think when you take the COPE report,
yes,
I think it's very bitter thing, but we have no option. If you love your country, if you really need this government to be in the correct track, you have to challenge it. I mean that's what we have to take from the COPE report.
Yes.
And I don't think it's wise just to put the case into AG's department and let it lie there for
we need something
months.
better.
But in the other hand, Faraz, I think if it goes to AG's department, if it gets delayed, we have a very clear remedy, judicial remedy, that is, you can challenge the delay and ask the Attorney General to file it.
I think very quickly, I've got a few seconds, I'll ask you that. A special prosecutor, that might be the answer. A special commission to look at these things.
Well, it's a good one. It's a good one. I mean these things we had to try.
Indeed.
Yeah, and we
tried it in the past.
Yes, we had.
So on.
Yeah, we had in the past. So I think an independent one.
Indeed.
Independent one. It can be a good suggestion.
It is, but when you go by what is happening right now, I think that the public's confidence in the system is at a very low ebb indeed. It's worrying, and it's time that our legislators pull their socks up, and our state officials did that. Otherwise, the people will speak yet again. Lakshan Das, thank you very much for being on Newsline. Appreciate your time. And thank you for watching Newsline. You can follow the progress of the budget through our network and enjoy the wonderful reporting, the professional reporting of the Newsfirst team. On that note, take care, have a great day, and God bless.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.